I would still hunt that place today if I didn't run a camera on it. You have all this griping. Like, why do you care so much? Because you know what? These kids that you're going to bring up, hopefully you teach them woodsmanship skills. But instead of like, we live in a super tech modern generation. It's not your and my generation, but it's already here. It ain't going anywhere. So instead of shitting on it, I think it's better to help people understand industry things as tools and then, come to some happy medium on them. Like, obviously there's going to be some kind of bickering one way or the other, no matter what you do, because we're humans. But I think it's a place where you can, okay, well, if this group of kids is going to use cell cams and be YouTube stompers and whatever, fine. How can you help them do that the right way? How can you help them do that a way where they can enjoy their hunt and you can enjoy your hunt? Whatever it is, instead of like, the Facebook people are fighting over stuff online and you don't even know the dude.
All right, we're back. Another episode of the Deer Camp podcast. This week we have my good friend Aaron Hepler of the In-Camp podcast on. We deep dive into some some deer camp talk, man. Good talk. But one thing I want to say is we've had a heck of a week, guys. Let's take a little moment of silence here for Charlie Kirk. Nobody deserves to be murdered in cold blood like that, especially for just speaking your mind and speaking the truth. So let's bow our heads and let's just take a moment of silence, and we'll get right into the podcast. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and enjoy this episode with Aaron Hepler. All right, we're back. Another episode of the Deer Camp podcast. This week, we have my friend Aaron Hepler of the In-Camp podcast. We're going to be talking all things camp today. Aaron, how you doing today, man?
I'm great, buddy. It's good talking to you.
Yeah, you too. Let's see. We just got done doing one for you, and now we're doing one for me, and we're just going to keep on keeping. It's funny. We're sitting there having this conversation. I'm like, why are we not recording this?
We're having all this good off air conversations. Like, whoa.
Wait a minute here. This should be on the record button. But
slow down.
Anyway, we're rolling now. Aaron, how you doing, man? How's everything going? How's your season looking? All that good jazz.
Dude, things are great. Work-life balance is good at the present moment. The weather's cooling down. I'm excited, dude. I feel too, this is going to be a fun podcast because I feel like you're from Michigan. I'm from Pennsylvania. I don't really know how to say it without being a little on the woohoo side, but like we're kind of kindred spirits when it comes to hunting because our states line up so well.
Yes. It's amazing. I've never been to Pennsylvania, but from what I hear, it's like Michigan, but a lot more vast, a lot bigger. Same mentality of the deer camp, same heritage, all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, it should be awesome. I visited Michigan. I want to say I've been there twice, but no, I haven't been there twice. I went to Mackinac Island for my honeymoon.
Okay, so that's
in the UP.
That's about 2 hours. I was actually just up there last week. We were camping up in the UP.
Nice.
But yeah, Mackinac is like an hour and a half, 2 hours from me.
Yeah, it's a cool little place. I don't think I'd want to stay on the island again for a whole week because.
Oh, damn! You stayed there for a whole week. Yeah, it's like a 3 day.
Yeah,
it's like a
3 day. Yeah, or like my wife was like, I don't know how much more whitefish things I can eat. But it's a cool place. The UP is great. We flew from Pennsylvania to Detroit, and from Detroit we flew into a small airport in Pellston.
Okay.
And it's like a pack of gum, man. There's like 8 people in there, and we from there they take you on a bus and you get on a ferry, go over to the island. So you do it in reverse, and we get buy some nice things on the island and whatever. And we bought a wrought iron cross decoration, right? And I told my wife, put it in my carry-on and in my check bag. And she's like, well, I don't think it'll fit. And I'm like, it's flat. It'll fit. Like, no problem. and she snuck it in my carry-on, right? And it's pointy, right? So we get to this little teeny tiny rural airport, in the middle of the woods in the UP, and my bag goes through the thing, and the lights go off, and everybody's freaking out, and they're like, "Oh, what do you got in that? What do you got in that bag?" I'm like, "I don't know what I have in that bag. What do I have in that bag?" And she's like, "The cross," and I'm like, "Oh, come on." I said, "It's a decoration. It's a cross," and she was like, "Well, you can't have that in the bag. It's pointy. You could bludgeon somebody with that." And I'm like, "Well, that's a pretty big word for a for a small airport, but okay." So they like take it out, unwrap it with gloves, and she's like, "It's okay, everybody. It's a cross." I'm like, "Okay." And then they had to like take me in a room and pat me down and do the whole. I'm like, "This is ridiculous." So I will never let her live that down. But that's my Michigan experience. And I don't know, man. The woods shape up pretty close. It's that big timber kind of stuff. There's still lots of public in Michigan, especially for up there. So
Yeah, we have a ton of public here in Michigan, which is wild. A lot of big swampland, a lot of big timber. At least in the northern part. I don't know about the southern as much, but the
yeah,
northern part, there's you can get away from people still.
yeah, that's
Might not
great.
be the best hunting spot, but you can get away from people.
Yeah,
When you were on the island, did you guys bike around the island?
yeah, we did.
All right. All right.
We went into the interior a little bit because there's some cool like rock formations and stuff. But for anybody who's not visited it, it's a cool place. Like it's all horses and bikes. Like there's no vehicles on the island. Um, the people that locally live on the island are a little strange, but but everybody else is pretty cool. Um,
I think you gotta be a little strange to live where you can't have a car and
yeah,
can only get there by ferry. And in the winter, you gotta wait for it to freeze up so you can get back by snowmobile. So I
yeah,
think, uh,
exactly.
I think you gotta be a little bit crazy, but hey, that's
Yeah,
just me. I'm a lot crazy. So I guess
yeah,
to each their own, right?
yeah.
Uh,
We
oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say, just give us kind of your background, man. Just a little bit about Aaron.
Yeah, so I'm actually a registered nurse in an intensive care in a like a pretty populated area in Southeast PA. It's a trauma center, so that's kind of cool. I've been doing that for 16 years. I can't say that I'm overly passionate about it, but it is a really good job for hunting and fishing because I only work 3 days a week. We do 3 12-hour shifts, and you get your full-time benefits and all that stuff. So it really honestly, like if you're young and looking for a new job or a career change that can afford you more time, this is a pretty good gig when it comes to hunting and fishing. That's my part in fixing the nursing shortage. But no, man, I grew up hunting and fishing in PA. Everybody in my family did it. My dad super into it. My uncle, my grandfather. Um, my other grandfather was a giant fisherman. Like he loved to fish. Fishing golf was his thing, but there was always some kind of outdoor experience happening. I mean, I have pictures of me with the Zebco and the bluegills and hunting squirrels with my dad and all that kind of stuff. So now in PA, they have these mentored programs where you can start hunting when you're like 6. And I didn't have that growing up. We had to wait till we were 12. People go back and forth with that kind of thing, and we can talk about that later. But at this point in time, I think it's a good thing that you can start your kid when you think your kid's ready to go. But yeah, man, I grew up hunting a lot of private. Didn't really hunt public, other than we hunted public for small game a lot. Fished in a lot of public places, but never really hunted deer on public until I was, I guess it's been probably about 10 years now, 9 or 10 years. And I actually hunted with a bow when I was 12 too, and didn't kill a buck with my bow until I was, uh, well, I started hunting. I was 12 in 2000. I shot a buck finally in 2018 with my bow. So lots of bucks in between there, but none with a bow. So that's, one thing that, when you're starting bow hunting, you can't get down on yourself when you either miss. You got to just keep going. It'll happen.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very similar story. Same thing. I grew up in a rifle hunting family. Like my dad didn't bow hunt. We hunted November 15th to November 30th. We went to deer camp. We ate bacon at 9 o'clock in the morning because you didn't hunt like you did. It was camp, it was. And so I got into bow hunting when I was like 17,
Mm-hmm.
16, 17 with some buddies that bow hunted. And then, yeah, I didn't kill my first buck with a bow until I was like 25, probably.
Yeah. I think that's how old I was, somewhere around there.
I don't think I killed my first rifle buck till I was like 17 either. I started when I was 14, but
Yeah.
but yeah, let's get on to that. Let's circle back to that mentor thing, man, because it's a hot topic. Some guys are like hate it and some guys love it. And I've been on both ends of it, of hating it and loving it.
So we actually started this that we decided to do a podcast together because I commented on something that you had posted about the industry being broken. And you can look at the industry a lot of different ways. When you think about industry initially, you're thinking about people that make products or whatever, right? And yeah, there's a lot broken to that because you take away some of the small business, but then some of these small businesses aren't really trying to be small business. You have all different kind of mix in that. And there are definitely parts of that are broken. And then there are parts where hunters, when changes are made, hunters are trying to break the changes, right? And sometimes to get better, things do need to change because, you have people that, well, this is the way we've always done it. Well, yeah, but do you have a 7-year-old kid right now? Because because the guys that are shitting on it, man, most of them don't have kids. And if they do, maybe their kid's a different kind. But man, kids have a lot of things that they would rather do right now than go hunting and fishing. The social media and the iPads and the phones and when you were a kid, I wasn't really into sports, but I know friends that were. And when you were a kid, you didn't have to go to a practice every single day and a game twice a week. They're trying to make athletes out of these little kids, and there is very little push from everything outside. People that hunt in the United States is like 5% of the population. That's not a lot of people trying to influence your kid. There's people that have influence on your kids that are outside your life, and not all of those people, in fact, probably the majority of them, aren't emphasizing hunting, fishing, being outside, learning woodsmanship, camping, hiking, whatever it is. They're not pushing that envelope. I kind of that kind of sucks. So if you can get a kid interested at a time where they are so impressionable, you put those memories into them early. I can't see how that's a bad thing.
No, you said it. You said it perfect right there. I mean, really. Yeah, but like the industry broken comment or post I put up was kind of the industry in a whole. I'm so, I mean, it is some of the product stuff. But it's more of the infighting, man. I'm so sick and tired of you've got to shoot this deer to be cool, or you gotta do it my way. You've got to do it with a loincloth and a trad bow, and you got to crawl through the woods to get there. Hunt your hunt. Do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with. I have buddies that are getting into the trad thing, and then they get into fly fishing and like the artsy fartsy thing. Like, if that's your thing, like, knock yourself out. But you have to. I love my friends that do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
My friends that do that stuff aren't like, why aren't you hunting with the trad bow? Why aren't you doing it this? Like, if they do that crap, I'm probably not. I'm like, see ya.
Yeah.
But you're right. The industry part of it is, and this gets talked about a lot, that hunters shoot holes in their own boat. I think there are things that get stopped early. Like when we're talking about industry things, you talk about things like cell cameras and forward facing sonar and drones and thermals and all that stuff. Quite honestly, man, that stuff is not going anywhere. I think that some states do a good job. Like PA put immediately when drones started becoming a thing, you cannot scout on public land with a drone, period. And they did that right away. They didn't do that with cell cams, like make any type of you need to pull them before the season or whatever. They didn't do any of that. And now it's like a controversial matter. And then hunters like, oh, you don't know how to hunt because you just use a cell cam. Well, have you ever used one? Because I don't know about you, because it doesn't really give me an advantage. I just talked to my buddy the other day. If I put a camera in an area, it's because I'm already planning on hunting there. Like the camera helps to confirm some of my suspicions, and it's fun to look at pictures of deer. But if I didn't have one, I wouldn't hunt there anyway. The first buck that I killed with a bow that I just told you about, I didn't even own a camera then. And it was, like I said, it was all scouting, and not to toot my own horn. It was a lot of 3 or 4 years of hard scouting and okay, after all these years, I'm putting the pieces together. This spot that I found looks like something I could kill something at. And I killed that buck. At the time, he was my biggest buck. He was a 125-inch 10-pointer. He was my biggest buck at the time, my first public land deer, and my first buck first bow buck. So the cameras, I would still hunt that place today if I didn't run a camera on it, but you have all this griping. Like, why do you care so much? Because you know what? These kids that you're going to bring up, hopefully you teach them woodsmanship skills. But instead of we live in a super tech modern generation. It's not your and my generation, but it's already here. It ain't going anywhere. So instead of shitting on it, I think it's better to help people understand industry things as tools, and then, come to some happy medium on them. Obviously there's going to be some kind of bickering one way or the other, no matter what you do, because we're humans. But I think it's a place where you can, okay, well, if this group of kids is going to use cell cams and be YouTube stompers and whatever, fine. How can you help them do that the right way? How can you help them do that a way where they can enjoy their hunt and you can enjoy your hunt? Whatever it is, instead of the Facebook people are fighting over stuff online that you don't even know the dude.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it really makes a lot of sense. I can tell you right now. I mean, I'm sitting down in the office right now doing this. My food plot is 450 yards away. I have a cell cam on it right now. I have yet to ever kill a deer because I got a picture of it on a cell cam.
Yeah.
I've never had that. It's never been even. Yeah, I've tried. Don't get me wrong. I've tried. There is no lie. I've had a deer hop on camera and I've ran out with a gun during gun season and still haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of, it's not. It's a tool and it's a crutch, but I don't think it's as big a crutch as everybody's making it out to be. I think a lot of the stuff just has to. We're all craving content. We're all trying to make content, and sometimes the bullshit goes to the top over, so I'm not sure. All I know is I want to go back to my 1988, 94 deer camp where it was just the guys sitting around the table, having coffee, having a beer, talking about their hunt.
So I grew up, I'm 37. I started like I said, I started hunting when I was 12, and we had a family cabin that bordered some public not far from my home that I live at now. And I didn't get to hunt that camp because my uncle owned it and he sold it when I was 8. So my dad and my uncle did some real good digging, and they got us a lot of small parcel type stuff, like 5 to 20 acre pieces. One small farm. And my dad and my uncle aren't big buck hunters, man. They're just in the woods to enjoy it. They kill plenty. They both kill a couple deer every year. My dad has killed one buck in his life. It was a half rack spike, you know, and he doesn't really care. Oh, does he want to kill a buck? Yeah, he wants to kill a buck, but he really cares about just having fun and experiencing it. So we hunted a lot of private. Like that's why I didn't hunt public till I was older. I think before I was 20 years old, um, other than small game, I hunted deer with a bow on public one time. My very first bow hunt was on public, and we saw a squirrel, and we had some friends come to our church when I was like 10, and my dad ended up getting permission to hunt with them, and they're really good family friends. I still hunt on their farm. I've been hunting on their farm for 25 years. I can only hunt pieces and parts of it now, because the one part they've leased for 40 years, and there's been some changes there with caretakers and that kind of thing, whatever. But that was kind of our deer camp. Like, the farmer, he would invite all the pastors and everything. The moms would all come, and they'd make like freaking delicious soup and all kinds of good stuff to eat. And so we'd go out and we'd hunt in the morning, come back for lunch, hunt the afternoon, come back for dinner. Everybody be swapping the stories about the bucks they killed or whatever. But it was kind of in an age where video hunts were getting kind of like highlight reels were getting kind of, popular. And I won't say the name, but we all know what I'm talking about. And big bucks were very important. And I don't think that big bucks aren't important. I think they are to the industry to some standards.
Mm-hmm.
Big bucks are cool, man. Like they're special things, but that's what they are. They're not like it's cool to hunt a big buck because it's a big buck, but it's not, the trophy part of it is like, who cares? Like,
Well, yeah, nobody cares about your buck. That's
yeah.
You can shoot 100. I mean, unless it's a 200 and some inch, mega giant that you're going to get on the cover of Whitetail magazine or whatever. Nobody gives a shit. They care for 2 seconds when you show them and you tell them about it, but they're not going home after that thinking about your buck. You
Yeah.
are though. So be happy with what you shoot is my take on it.
And I think I guess what I'm saying is chasing a big buck is chasing a special animal. Like it's not the same as chasing. Small bucks aren't easy to kill either. Year-old bucks are still wily, but chasing a big mature buck is hard and it's different. And it takes a lot more patience and a lot more strategy and a lot more like stealth or whatever. Like it's not a cakewalk. It's cool. But that point in time, it started to become like big buck, big buck. That's really when it was like, hold out, pass that one. Why are you shooting that one? Like, and as time went on, that deer camp was fun. It wasn't a camp because we didn't stay there. We just went to their house for the opener, and probably the second day we would meet, pretty early, whatever. But it was fun because everybody was there. It still had that vibe, like, oh, there was probably like 20 of us hunting 200 acres, 250 acres. And it was cool. But then as time went on, like a couple guys didn't want to come back for lunch. They wanted to stay out all day. And then it was like, okay, nobody comes back for lunch. Then it was like, this guy's moving on to a different place. And it kind of like dwindled down, and people got less interested. So the only people that go there anymore are the farmer and his family and myself, my brother, and my dad, really. Which is fine because, when you've got 20, 25 guys on 250 or 350 acres, all with high powered rifles, it's like, how did we do that without dying? Like, I don't know. And it kind of defeated the purpose. I mean, the public that is close by that area, if you put 60 guys in 300 acres, that was probably not a lot of guys. So at that time, there was less pressure where we were still. But
that's funny.
That was kind of like the deer camp. And the big buck thing, it mattered to a small group of people, like the game commission closed the propagation area or opened a propagation area to hunt. And it was so thick, but people were driving it and walking through it for, birds and whatever before the gun season opened. And my buddy ended up shooting this like 195-inch 14 pointer that ended up only, nets are for fishing, but it only netted like 160 because of how many, abnormal points it had. But it's a giant deer, and it was easily, 250, 275. It was huge compared to every other deer that was laying on that, on that post or whatever. But that deer still matter. Like, we still talk about that deer.
Okay.
And that thing was like 20 years ago, but who talks about it? It's just us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just the people that it mattered to.
Yep.
Nobody else, and he doesn't even, he's a missionary in Greece. He doesn't even see the mount of that deer. It's hanging in his dad's house,
Hey guys, Al here, Vitalize Seed. I hope you all are doing well. So we got a lot of new things happening at Vitalize this year, and I wanted to highlight some of those. First off, we got a brand new website. We just added a chat feature to that website so you can get your answers to your questions in real time or as fast as possible. Those actually come directly to us, so we can answer those questions, as well as has some auto answer features for those frequently asked questions. So trying to further increase the customer service that we offer. Number two is we are offering bundles now. So we got a lot of questions about people trying to piecemeal things together. So we took the guesswork out of it for you. You want a fertility bundle, add that to your cart, and it gives you all of our natural fertility products in one place. We also are adding bulk pricing. So been asked about this in the past, and we've done some, kind of one-off things. But for those people who are buying, 5, 10, 15 acres, depending on the product, we're going to be offering some bulk pricing options for that. So right now we got that up on Nitro Boost. We also are going to have that up for the Clover, Chicory, and Oats offering, and might expand that to other offerings as well. Other things are new products. So we got our annual Clover. That's a fantastic product for frost seeding, and also for this early spring, especially for those who still want to plant Nitro Boost. They want to get that annual Clover established. You could go in and drill your Nitro Boost right through it, broadcast through it, mow it off, spray it off, etc. We got our Premium Clover Plus. I'm using that on all my logging trails. That's a fantastic product. I'm also using that often with our Clover, Chicory, and Oats mix. So I might use Clover, Chicory, Oats in the first year on my logging trails like I did last fall. Let those oats come in, they'll die off, and then I can frost seed my premium Clover and Chicory over top of those trails now. So those are areas where I want a perennial crop growing. So I'm using that mix. And then we added our brassica mix as well. We, of course, have our seed feed and seed armor. Those are selling fantastic, and various other products, guys. So please check us out at vitalizeseed.com. We sure do appreciate you, and we're looking forward to a fantastic 2025.
That's a crazy 195-inch 14 point that netted 160. Yeah, exactly. I don't care about net. That's for fishing. I agree.
It's really a 7-point. It's like a mainframe 7-pointer, but it's got all these like kickers and stuff that are, well over an inch. So it's, pretty cool looking deer. But I mean, it's all fun memories, it's good to remember back to those things. Like, you don't kill a buck and don't remember it,
Mm-hmm.
I killed my biggest buck there with a gun the year after I killed my bow buck. And it's like it's not a giant. It's a 136-inch 11-pointer. But I missed it before I shot it. Like, it came running out into a field and it was chasing does around, turned around, and it was kind of like standing kind of funny. And I took a shot at his shoulder, shot way over its back. And I'm like, what the heck? I went to rack another round and I jammed my gun up, and he went diving down into the bushes with all these does. And I was mad because I had, at that point in time, I had 120-inch 8-point bust me on public and 140-inch 9-point bust me on public. And I was like getting real frustrated, and he ended up kind of corralling these does and coming back down a valley. And I shot him at like 100 yards through real thick stuff and thought I missed him because he ran like he wasn't hit. So I shot at him running, And then he stopped on the hill like he was going to bust out into this field. And I shot at him again. And I'm like, what the heck? Why am I not hitting this deer? And what I didn't realize is when I shot the third shot, he was on such a steep part of the hill that he was actually already down, but it looked like he was standing up. So when I found him, I had 3 shots straight through his shoulders. And my best friend he's the farmer's son, and he was actually watching this deer because he had killed a buck in archery, and he was just glassing fields and stuff, and he was watching this deer for like an hour, and he's like, I saw it going towards you, man. And I was getting excited, like he's gonna shoot that deer. And then I told him that I missed one, and he was all bummed out, and I said it was huge. And I told him if a 50-inch 5-pointer walks by, it's getting it. And then I shot again, and he's like, was that you? And I was like, yeah. And I said, I got him. And he was like, which one? The 50-inch 5-pointer? And he was in his an old like an 87 F-150. And he is doing like 45 miles an hour through the field in this thing to come see this deer. I thought the truck was going to fall apart. It was hilarious, man. The best part of that story was, though, when I pulled into where I parked, I realized I forgot my boots, and I was wearing boat shoes. And I'm like, it was like, I don't know, maybe 20 degrees. So it wasn't super, super cold. I think it was Monday after Thanksgiving. It might've been the Saturday when we started opening Saturday, but he ended up bringing me boots because I don't think I would have made it that long because I shot that deer at like 11 o'clock in the morning,
Okay.
But
Okay.
But we do it for all the stories, right?
Yeah, it's exactly. It's the fun. I mean, the stories, the hanging out with your buddies. I mean, it's. I don't know. You're 37. I'm 44. I've got a couple kids. I don't know if you've got any kids or not, but your time is so limited anymore. I mean, it used to be. I remember in my 20s, I'd be hanging out with my buddies every week, every night. We'd be doing something, fishing, hunting, doing something dumb, and now it's like I see some of these guys once a year at deer camp.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, it's a priority thing for some people. Like I see that you get to do it pretty often, you yourself, but it's like trying to line schedules up or whatever. I've got a lot of buddies, and I always say like, hey man, I get it. Life's busy. We just got to pick up where we left off, and there was nothing in the meantime that made me not your friend,
Oh.
Of course, you don't want to be the guy that just shows up on rifle season every year either. Like you want to kind of keep tabs and stuff, but there is something special about hunting and fishing that kind of brings you back together. And then that in a sense that's okay,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do get to do it quite a bit. I can't complain. I have the biggest saint of a wife in the entire world that allows me to basically be gone all entire fall. So I shout out to you, Tana. Without you, I cannot do what I do. So I appreciate it. But
she's going to listen to this too. I know it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm like, have you ever listened to one? She's like, I've listened to like a couple minutes of a couple. I'm like, I figured as much. I don't blame you. I don't want to listen to what you're listening to. So we're on the same page. But yeah, she grew up with her dad just like us, ate up with it. He hunted all the time. I mean, he was she tells me stories about many ruined Halloweens because her dad would shoot a deer on Halloween, and then there goes the trick or treating. And I'm like, well, I won't do that, but it's a good thing. What do you got going on this year? Are you going anywhere? Are you just hunting Pennsylvania?
I'm actually going to do a bear hunt in Jersey because there's lots and lots of bears in Jersey. So they closed the hunt for like 5 years, right?
In Jersey?
Yeah. And then they opened it 3 or 4 years ago now. So I've got a buddy that was he's kind of ate up with bear. Do you know Mitch Shirk? He's with the Pennsylvania Woodsman podcast.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. I know who he is. I don't know him personally, but yeah.
Yeah. So Mitch and I are pretty local to each other, and like 5 minutes. And he he's just ate up with bear hunting. So they started hunting Jersey a couple years ago, and they've done pretty well. They've shot a few, but the encounters they see a lot. They see a lot of bears. So I've been wanting to go out with him for 2 or 3 years and check it out. But so I'm going to do the bow hunt in October for bears. Hoping to get there next Friday to do a little food recon, see where the stuff's at, and then I might get out and walk a little bit. But I think it's more like kind of checking it out from seeing as many pieces I can get to in an afternoon. So I'll do that hunt for like 12th through the 17th of October. And then that's really it for me. I might go, I live in the southeast corner of the state, and then I'll probably go. I have some deer tags for a buddy I actually did real deer camp for the first time last year. So one of my good buddies has a cabin up in the northwest corner of PA. That's the one everybody talks about. There's millions of acres up there. It's huge. And there is literally everything you can think of to hunt there. I mean, not really a lot of ag, but the swamps, the big timber, like all the cut type stuff, big woods type thing. And it's fun. I killed a 110-inch 8-pointer there with a rifle in the snow last year, and that was like, he's probably one of my favorite bucks I've ever killed. And you can be like, wow, it's rifle, whatever. Dude, it was such a cool hunt. And honestly, we don't get a lot of snow in PA especially around the opener of rifle season. That corner of the state might from time to time, but I've never hunted the opener of rifle season in a foot of snow, so it was cool. And just the deer camp part of it. So I'll go up there. I have a couple doe tags for up that way. So it doesn't really matter if I don't have a buck tag. I'll be up there for deer camp. We'll probably do some predator hunting up there. He's kind of one of those. This buddy of mine is, when he does something, he wants to do it all out, and he gets really good at it really fast. And he doesn't want to have a bad time himself. So he is like the ultimate host. You get on his boat when you're going striper fishing. He's got enough custom rods for 4 guys to fish with on his boat. He's got all the bait, everything. We bow fish stingrays this year. He has 4 bow fishing set up so he can have a good time. It's pretty cool, but you always try to contribute like a little bit here or there. So that way you get invited back and have a good time with that stuff. So it'll be a lot of that predator hunting. Probably going to go up to the northeast corner for grouse. I have a little bird dog. He's year and a half. He had a great season last year with pheasants in my corner of the state. So we shed hunted up in that corner this year, and he had a real interest in grouse. So, I want to try to take him there. I've never killed a rough grouse before, so I'd like to take him up there and see if we can get him pointing and stuff and checking some of that off the fun list. But yeah, that's my thing, man. I'm going to do as much as I can.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tell me about that 110-inch snowbuck. Play us back through the play-by-play on that.
Dude, okay, so I'm going to tell a story I've not told on a podcast yet, okay? Because I've been mildly nervous too, and I'm like, well, that's kind of dumb. Like, I don't know why you're nervous too, because I don't know, people might shoot on it. We'll see. So we get up there to deer camp. It's freaking awesome. It's a very stereotypical like camp vibe. There's only 5 of us hunting, but there's 10 people in camp. There were only 2 buck tags in camp. It was me and my buddy's uncle. And his uncle's like in his 60s. He visits from Wales every year, right? His uncle lives in Wales. So he comes across the pond to come deer hunting. That's his United States vacation every year. And so his uncle and his cousin, who usually doesn't have a lot of time, like he has to do some work while he's there. So they hunt the 20 acres that the cabin's on, and the rest of the other 3 of us spend time on public when we're there because there's plenty of it. So We sat in a spot in the morning on the first day where my buddy had killed a nice 8-pointer a couple of years back, same conditions. And the closest shot we heard was like a mile away. And we saw not a flick of a tail. And I'm like, what? This is, and talk about like a hook for a story. Oh, this is going to be a lot of not seeing deer. Well, we come back to the house, we do the lunch thing, have a good time. And we're talking like, where are we going to go this evening? We got to figure this out. And we all decide we're going to go to this one ridge that they had hunted last year, scouted a bunch, and it got, some of the landscape had changed there quite a bit from work that the state forest had done or whatever. So we go out to this ridge, and the way it lays is all the access is from the top. And, we're like, okay, we're going to split this ridge. You go down this side, I go down this side, you go out to the end. So we break off, and I started following tracks in the snow because I'm like, oh, this is fun. Like, I never got to do this, So I'm following these tracks, and I pick up a set of buck tracks, definite buck tracks, comparing them to the size, whatever. You can see the dew claw. Like this, the hoofs in the front were kind of rounded. I'm like, this is a buck. And then all the tracks kind of got mixed together, and I kind of lost it, but they're all kind of going the same way. And it had only snowed like the day before, like we got fresh snow. So, and in the last 2 hours, we had gotten like 4 or 5 inches. So, these tracks are like maybe an hour old, So I'm following 3 sets of tracks, and I'm following along. And I kind of come to a meadow, like a swamp, creek bottom type thing. And I see a couple deer down feeding in this like buckbrush, like it's all as sassafras saplings, like maybe 1.5 foot, 2 foot saplings. And it's just a mess of them. And they're putting their heads up and down. And one finally comes into a spot that's kind of thin. I'm like, man, well, that's got to be the mama, because there's, a couple with them, whatever. And I'm like, all right. I was none of us were in any way like trying to kill monster buck. Like, we're just like meat filling time. There's only 2 buck cat. Like, if we see a buck, great. But this is just up here to have a good time and fill the freezer, which is generally what rifle season is for me anyway. So it's snowing, so it's cloudy. The cloud cover's bad. And I take 150 yards. I take a crack off my knee at this deer, and I smoke that thing, right? And I can see it's like starts to run through the thing, and it lays down on like a hump, and it turns its head and looks at me, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And here it had like little spikes that I couldn't see in the, and PA has an antler restriction. And it was all in that buck brush. And even though it was putting its head up and down, it always stood sideways to me, right? I'm like, well, I can't just pretend like I didn't shoot the deer. So I chased it down. Like, I went down there. It got up and ran. I kind of followed it along and shot it in its bed. And I'm like, oh, I can't believe this. And I like walk over, and it's a little 3-pointer. And I'm like, son of a gun. And I'm like, well, I got to do the right thing. So I field dress a deer, drug it out. And I'm telling the guys, like, I got to turn this deer in, whatever. And if you turn it in PA, you don't get in a whole lot of trouble. Like, it's $25 fine, and Game Commission comes, picks up your deer and takes it to the soup kitchen, and they have it processed, whatever. So I turn it in a Game Commission, and I'm like, I didn't know you got a tag back though, but they end up giving you your tag back. So
really,
yeah. So I paid $25, got my tag back. If you don't turn in and you get caught, it's like $250 for the first offense, and then you can do like a couple days in jail, or a couple, a lot more expensive of a fine. So I was like, well, that was worth it. Like, I got my tag back. And hindsight too, that deer was hit by a car somehow. I don't know, because he was miles into the public, and the back leg was all like, his hip was broken and stuff. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but I ended up turning the deer in, and I'm like kind of bummed out, and we're like, all right, well, the next day it's all good, man. You did the right thing. So we go out the next day, and it snowed the entire time we were there. And we get back, we're going back to this spot because the one of the guys that had split off the side of the ridge was like, I saw $3 down there. The other guy saw $4. You know, we found a pocket and ended up, the three of us saw like, I don't know, 70 deer there in the couple of days that we hunted, maybe. And we got off the side of this ridge, and I'm kind of just, you know, I'm sitting on the edge of a cut, overlooking a creek bottom where all these bucks were the day before. And my buddy had shot a doe down there the night before. We shot 3. I shot that illegal buck, and then they both shot a doe. So we drug 3 deer out the night before. But I'm sitting there, and I see some does in the morning down in this creek bottom. I'm like, man, I'm not going to be able to kill them from where I'm sitting. So I moved down the ridge just a little bit on the edge of this cut, and I'm sitting there just enjoying the Sunday morning. And I'm like, man, this is cool. Like, the snow's coming down. I'm in this big wood section overlooking stuff I've never seen before. And I can see nothing but woods for as far as I can look over this hill. And it was just a real cool thing. And I kind of like, I'm thinking like, all right, well, morning's already kind of winding down. It's like 8:45, you know, like probably should start moving around and looking for stuff. Normally I'm like a sit till noon kind of person at the least, and then kind of make a change. But I'm like, well, you know, we're kind of out here to do the snow and thing or whatever. So right when I thought that, I kind of like caught an antler coming out of the bushes in the corner of my eye. And it's a 6-pointer. And I'm like, oh, he's getting it. Like, I'm going to smoke that thing. And he's doe's running behind him, and I'm getting ready to shoot him. And then somehow, I don't know how, but I see a rack under some terrain stuff in front of the 6-pointer. And I'm like, holy crap, there's a big rack right there. And the buck runs out, and it's that buck I'm ready to kill, you know, and he gets to 75 yards, and I grunted and stopped him and shot him at 75 yards without really thinking about it. I'm like, he's just bigger than the other one. I'm, you know, and I thought it was more like an 80-inch, you know, 8-point mountain buck or whatever. And he ended up being, you know, he's a real heavy rack. And I don't know, they said he's probably a 3.5-year-old, but he's the biggest body deer I've ever killed. They get big up there in that cold weather, but it was, dude, it was fun, man. So then we, you know, I got him, you know, we got a buck in camp, you know, we're all excited, and they came, and we packed him out because after dragging 3 deer out from a mile the night before, I was like, I'm not doing that again. So we, you know, we did the pack out, and all 3 of us were there, and dude, it was cool. When I shot this deer, I was so freaking excited. I was like, yeah, like freaking out. And some dude that's sitting like 400 or 500 yards away, good job. You know, like, it was pretty funny. So we're there, we packed the deer out. And as we're, you know, processing or whatever, my buddy's uncle texted him, and he shot a buck while I was processing. So we ended up having 2 bucks in camp and 7 does. And for the 2 or 3 days of hunting. And his uncle's buck was nice. It was like a 115, 120-inch 8-point that they shot on the little cabin property. So it was a pretty cool hunt, man. You know, did all the deer around the truck and on the pole with the beers, and, you know, it was fun.
Yes.
It was a good time.
That's a great time right there. Everybody's celebrating everybody, and just a heck of a good time.
Yeah.
That's a great story, man. I was a little disconnected. I was watching my Ring camera, and I was getting a delivery, but it didn't look like it was a delivery. I wasn't sure what the hell was going on, but it's just Walmart. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time, man. It's to hear the story, it's definitely not the same as being there, but when you remember back to a story like that, it's like, man, it was really something. And man, I enjoyed every little minute of that deer camp and the fun we got to have there together. Like, even with the does, you know, the first doe that we shot was was my host of host buddies. We're walking into the public and we're like 100 yards down the road, and a doe runs out from this thicket across the road, and we all like there's 3 of us. We bring guns up to shoot it, and nobody gets a shot at it. And we can see another one coming, and we're all kind of like standing there like this. Well, my buddy used to shoot 3-gun, like he was pretty into competitive shooting, and he's a fantastic shot. Well, this deer rips out of that thicket, and she is full blown, like jumping 12, doing the big leaps. He pulls up and shoots her at 60 yards straight through both lungs, like it was a broadside, just, and you're thinking, I don't even think he had the gun on his face, like pretty wild. But it's just, it's all that little excitement that we all got. Like me and the other guy got to see him do that. It's so fun. So fun.
That's where I get to eat my words right there, that nobody cares about your buck, because right then you guys all cared about that deer as equally as he did. You know what I mean? I mean, that is some of the best stuff. I don't know about you, but one of my favorite things to do is, and I get pissed when I don't get the call, is go tracking with my buddies. Yeah. I just want to be there, man. I don't care if it's mine or not. I just want to go. I love being part of that. You get to that deer, you celebrate, you might have a beer, you might, just hang out around that deer and take some photos. And that's probably my favorite part.
Yeah. I love the pack out, man. Like I love doing that with my other hunting buddy that I hunt with pretty locally all the time. He shot a nice, smaller buck, and he never really cares either. That's the thing, is like, you're not doing it for, it's freaking fun, man. He shot a buck on the same day that I missed one. We would have doubled with a bow, and just doing that pack out is such a good time, because it's like you feel that weight of the success coming out, because it's not, I mean, the rack's cool, but it's cool packing out a deer, but I don't know.
Are you guys packing out, like cutting them up into quarters and packing them out, or are you?
Yeah, I have a 1/4 mile rule. Like if it's further than that, I'm putting it in a pack, because I hate dragging deer so bad. And it's kind of nice too. Sometimes, well, you get to leave a lot of stuff in the field, to hide the rib cage, spine, whatever. And when you get home, you don't have quite as much processing to do. I can put the quarters right. I have an extra fridge in my garage. I put the quarters right in the fridge, and I can take a couple days to take my time butchering it, so I'm not rushing. And my wife's not like, well, now you're hunting and now I can't spend any time with you because you got to cut the deer part, which she appreciates later anyway. But
does she help with the cutting at all?
Sometimes. Most of the time she's more like helps with the packing and labeling. She does a pretty good job with the vacuum sealer and wrapping things up and stuff like that. So
my wife is the silver skin queen.
Oh yeah.
She loves cutting silver skin off, and I hate I'll just grind it. I don't give a shit. I hate, and she'll sit there and meticulously cut it off. And I'll just sit there and be like, man, I love you, because I ain't doing that at all. And it's so much better when you get that off, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But
one time, my wife doesn't hunt. She's come with me a couple times, and I killed a buck with her once or whatever. She likes to eat it. She likes to talk about it. She doesn't really love to sit in the cold and do it, She likes to go out with the dog. She'll watch the dog hunt pheasants and stuff like that. She loves that. But I killed a bow buck 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. And 2 or 3 years ago. And she could get lost in a tin can. And somehow, so I tell her like, oh, I killed this deer. Jared wants to come help pack it up, but he only has his wife has the SUV. He doesn't have his SUV. We can drive him up the mountain. And she's like, yeah, I can do that. So she drives him up. Well, I didn't tell her like, hey, why don't you come back here with him? He had a bike. We both had bikes, and he rode the bike back and into this spot. And she logged into my Onyx, and he tells her where to find me. Right. So he's like, yeah, it was back. You helped Aaron fix a camera back there or something. It's at this spot. She's like, okay. hindsight, I'm so glad she didn't get lost, because on a normal basis, like there is no way. But she ended up, he met me out there, and like half hour later, I hear something. I'm like, I hear a deer, and I like look over. We're quartering my deer up, and I look over, and I see her, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? She came back to help us pack that deer out. It was pretty cool, a pretty cool morning for that. So
That's crazy. You
yeah.
look over, hey, there's my wife.
Yeah. It was a pretty cool year, because that was like I always end up like effing something up, but I had missed a really nice, or I might have hit a buck that year with my bow, a real big, like 130-inch 8-point, and the one I killed was another 110-inch one. But I was like kicking myself for a while over the one I hit, and just, oh, what the heck, like you do all this stuff. And so it was a cool morning. It was like a Tuesday, and having my buddy come out and help me pack out, and my wife was there for that. That was pretty cool. But that's seriously, that's my favorite part, is the pack out.
I'll have to do that because I have a quarter-mile rule too. It is if it's a quarter-mile farther into the woods, I'm bringing more people to help drag.
Yeah,
We're gonna have a party.
I mean, people kind of think it's funny, but man, I have a pretty big pack. I have a Mystery Ranch pop-up 40.
Okay.
That I use now. I did use the QU like Pro suspension with a 3500 pack. Everybody's like, that's so big. But I like to, especially when I'm on public, I don't wear my same clothes, because by the time I get where I'm going, I'm a sweaty dude.
Mm-hmm.
And
Same.
okay, well, who cares about scent? It's not really the scent that I'm worried about. If I sit there wet, I'm going to get freaking cold. So I like to like just wear, whatever to go out, and I have all my clothes. I've lost too many clothes, just like throw them on the back of the backpack. So I like to stuff them in there. I like to have all my stuff where it's not going to fall out. Especially because, we hunt around here. We hunt like, I probably hunt 5 different pieces of public, and at least 4 of them I can bike a couple miles first. So, biking, it's pretty riding a regular mountain bike. It's pretty bumpy, man. And, you lose a lot of stuff that way. So I like having a big pack. I don't know. And I'm also like a 1 in, 1 out kind of guy. If I can not go back to the truck, drop all my stuff off, and then go all the way back in to get the deer, I'd rather do that. So I like to have the big pack. It's one reason I changed to the Mystery Ranch was they had a nicer meat shelf. Like QU packs just have straps on the bottom, and they're more built for Western hunting, so they can fit an elk quarter really nice. But if you put a deer quarter in there, it's falling straight through. So that was I just like it that way. It's easier to carry a deer, especially if you are on a bike. Like, you're not dragging that deer out on a bike, So the pack is pretty cool, and it doesn't really bother me in the tree. I hang it low enough that it's out of my way, and I don't know. I've enjoyed doing it that way. So
I'm the same way. I like a big pack as well because I like to take everything in one time. Same thing. I'm a sweaty ass mess going in. So, but I'll take my big pack and I'll stick it in, like if I'm saddle hunting, I'll stick it in front of me low, and it's got all my stuff right there. And then there's my knee pads right there. I can lean right against that pack, and
Yep.
Works for me,
man. Yeah, and I used to hunt. I'm afraid of heights. So I used to hunt out of a Hawk Helium XL, which is like a freaking 34-inch platform. And I had 4 Hawk sticks that I carried that were the 32-inch, like.
I had the same setup.
Yeah, it was a 36-pound setup plus my pack, and you needed a pretty stout pack to carry all that crap, and then I switched to saddle hunting, and my life is forever changed, and I will not go back. But
I was the same way, man. I same thing. I'm afraid of heights as well. I'm not a huge heights guy. For some reason, I'm okay in a saddle. I don't know how that is, but
I think it's the connection to the tree. Like,
it must be.
Whenever I stood up on a tree stand, and your harness is there or whatever, but you feel like you're just kind of free floating in nothing. I don't ever feel that with a saddle. I always have that like tension connection to the tree, and something to that tension is, in a sense, some kind of support.
Yeah, I was a ladder stand guy for years, at least on the home farm. I'd never take any ladder stands in the public, but ladder stands, I don't know, there's got to be a dozen ladder stands spread throughout this farm, and I can't tell you the last time I sat in one.
Yeah.
It's the saddle's so much more comfortable.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's such a difference with the way things work. But yeah, man, I'm pumped up for the season. I'm gonna go, like I said, I'm probably going down to this farm today to fix that camera up over beans. I gotta send you the picture of I hung this camera on the corner of beans, and we found we had like a metal landscaping post. And I was like, oh, this will be tall enough to go. Well, these beans are like up to my chest.
Really?
So we could only put this thing in a couple inches. I'm like, this thing's going to fall over in the wind. And just to give it a little extra, I took an old camera that didn't really work that well, and I hung it upside down and then hung the other camera on top of that one to get a couple extra inches.
I like it.
So we'll see. I mean, it's been up since Saturday. I would assume by seeing the beans and the corn on that poor farm, man, I'm fairly certain there'll be pictures on that camera already. So. And there's a like a 150 10 point I'm hoping to connect with on that farm. So we'll see.
Well, I'll tell you what, on that note, let's end this so we can get you down there and get that camera check, because I want to see those pictures. Appreciate you coming on, man. What a great conversation, dude. I love it when the flow is, you know how it is. Sometimes the flow just isn't there. This worked really well. I really appreciate it. We'll definitely have to do it again.
Sounds good, dude. Anytime.
Where can guys follow along with you?
Yeah, so on Instagram, my regular personal account is Aaron_Hepler. Like I said, I did a lot of writing for Exodus in the past. They don't have their website anymore, so I'm kind of retuning some of those articles. You can find them at East Meets West Hunt. I'm writing some stuff for Meat Eater, so you can find stuff on those places. And then my podcast is incamp_podcast on Instagram. It's on Spotify and Apple, so you can find me in those places.
All right, guys, you heard him there. Go check them out. We appreciate it, buddy, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, man. You too.